marble, and the man landed with a hard thud on the cold, unforgiving ground of Asanis's domain. The air here was heavy, thick with the miasma of dread and despair, and the sky above consisted of endless fractures, like a shattered mirror reflecting nothingness. Dal slowly rose to her feet, her stone body unscathed by the fall, while the man groaned and stood beside her, his eyes blazing with defiance despite the oppressive atmosphere. Before them, seated on a jagged throne of black glass, was Asanis, the Drow father. His presence was overwhelming, his form towering and monstrous, a figure sculpted from darkness itself. His once brilliant eyes, now burning with cold, cruel light, bore into them. Beside him stood three figures, Morsa, Tassa, and Dasa, the three Eves who had descended into the depths with him long ago. Their forms, corrupted and malevolent, flickered with remnants of divine power, though now they were fully servants of the Drow Father. Dal of Marble felt the weight of their stares, but her expression remained impassive. She had lived long enough to know that fear held no weight over her. She had conquered it long before anyone alive had drawn breath. "You think to wield this gift of Lanalin's?" Asanis's voice dripped with contempt as he rose from his throne. "The same gift she used to shape the universe? The same gift that once bound me to her? Do you even understand what she has given you?" The man stepped forward, unbowed by the immense power surrounding them. "We do," he said, his voice steady. "She gave us the power to challenge the gods through reason. She thinks we can bring you and others like you down with our words." Asanis let out a low, mocking laugh that echoed through the void. "And you believed her? Lanalin's faith, her belief in words, is her greatest flaw. It always has been. And now, by giving you this gift, she has ensured her own downfall." Dal of Marble narrowed her eyes. "You speak as if she desires her own end." At this, Asanis's laughter ceased. His gaze shifted, and for a moment there was something darker, more sorrowful beneath the malice. He gestured to the three Eves at his side, his voice softening into something almost reflective. "Do you know why I became what I am? Why the gods of this world are doomed to be broken?" Morsa, Tassa, and Dasa moved forward, their faces cold and expressionless, but there was an unspoken understanding between them and Asanis. Tassa, her voice soft and silken, was the first to speak. "It was we who created Asanis. We took the cast-offs, the remnants of Lanalin's rejected creations, and from those pieces we crafted him." Morsa continued, her voice harsher, filled with bitter conviction. "But in that act, we had done the inconceivable, for it was we who created the first seed, born from our frustration with Lanalin's impossible standards. We sowed that seed in him, and in time it matured into the shadow of doubt, and it consumed him." Dasa finished, her tone cold and final. "What you must understand is that Lanalin didn't create us to be perfect. She created us to serve her, to fulfill her needs, to complete her vision of paradise. But in doing so, she denied us and herself any real understanding of failure, of imperfection. Asanis's fall was inevitable, as is the fall of all things created by her." The man clenched his fists. "So you're saying Lanalin's vanity is the reason you turned on her? That her desire for perfection destroyed everything?" "Yes," Asanis said, his voice echoing with cold certainty. She believed in perfection, but perfection is nothing without its futility. She yearned for another of her perfection to experience eternity with, but even I had a blemish, and that blemish was doubt. Once it had taken root, I began to question. The more I questioned, the more her creation unraveled. Her paradise was never sustainable because it was built on a lie dash, a lie that there could be light without darkness, that there could be creation without destruction. Doll of Marble felt a chill run through her, not from fear, but from a deep, ancient understanding. She had wandered for centuries, seeking an end to her suffering, an end to her existence. Now she saw it reflected in Lanolin herself. The Fey Mother gave us her gift, Doll said, her voice low and steady, not because she believes we can defeat you. She gave it because she wants to be defeated herself. She wants what I have wanted for so long, dash an end to her endless suffering. Isanus's eyes narrowed, but he did not speak, as though waiting for her to continue. She now knows that perfection is impossible, Doll went on, her stone eyes unblinking. She has come to understand that everything she creates is flawed, and just like me, she cannot die. But unlike me, she is bound to her creations, to the faith of those who believe in her. The only way for her to be free is for that faith to crumble. She gave us the tools of her destruction because she desires an end. The man who had been silent stared at Doll, the realization dawning on his face. So she wants us to sow seeds to make the world question her, because that is the only way she can stop existing. Exactly, Doll said. The gift she gave us is not one of hope or victory. It is one of dissolution. She has planted the seed of doubt in us, just as you were once planted with it, Isenus. She knows that this is the only way she can be free. Isenus's cold laughter returned, but this time it was softer, less mocking. You are more perceptive than I gave you credit for, he said, his voice laced with a strange mixture of admiration and bitterness. Yes, Lanolin has always been a fool in her quest for perfection. And now, in her desire to escape her endless suffering, she has handed you the very weapon to bring her own end. He stepped forward, his form towering over them, but there was no malice in his eyes now, only cold truth. But make no mistake, this path you are on will not just end here. It will end everything. When the gods fall, the world will unravel. The balance between creation and destruction will be lost. I was born of doubt, and I will feed on it until there is nothing left. You have the power to bring down the gods, but know this, once they fall, the world will descend into chaos, and in the end, only one of you will survive. The man glanced at Doll for a moment to really feel the weight of the Drow father's words before meeting his gaze, unflinching. Then so be it. If the gods are all flawed, as you say, if they are doomed to repeat this cycle of creation and destruction, then maybe it is time to put a stop to it. Here is the text to convert. Doll of Marble stood silent beside him, feeling the weight of the truth they had uncovered. The Fey Mother had given them the power to destroy her, not out of benevolence, but out of her own desire for oblivion. In the end, they were not the ones challenging the gods had already begun their own undoing. Isenus's smile was cold and cruel. Very well. But remember, the path you walk is one of no return. The moment you cast doubt upon the gods, the world will never be the same. You will become the harbingers of the end, the makers of new beginnings. Morsa, Tassa, and Dasa stood silently beside him, their faces expressionless, but Dal could feel the weight of their understanding. They too had once been part of this cycle, and now they watched as it threatened to begin again, this time not with gods, but with mortals. The darkness around them thickened, and Isanus stepped back, his voice fading into the void. Go, spread your seeds throughout the world. From this day forth, I acknowledge you both as harbingers of my retribution. And with that, the world of shadows dissolved, and Dal of Marble and the man were left standing alone in the cold, empty space between realms. The seed of doubt had been planted, and there was no turning back.